Earning crypto by playing games. For many people, this is still a fantasy, but for one rural community just north of Manila in the Philippines, it is quickly becoming a reality for many of its residents. So, how are they earning crypto by staying at home? Well, in a recent documentary called Play to Earn, we are introduced to a few people of this community, how they got into earning crypto simply by playing games and became new crypto investors themselves. I am personally so excited about this documentary and I really want to show you a little bit of it today. So we're going to do that by showing you guys the trailer. I'm going to discuss a little history on the Doco and its creators. I'm going to discuss my own thoughts on the film, which I've watched several times now. And then I'm also going to go a little further than that. I'm going to discuss about where I think these trends are going and how this might develop into the future. So if you guys don't know me, my name is JP. I work here at DCP, or Digital Currency Pros. We are a media company at the intersection of gaming and crypto. I'm not a financial advisor, so quick disclaimer, nothing I say here should be taken as financial advice. Everything here is just for educational and entertainment purposes only. Also, towards the end of this video, I will be telling a little crypto joke, so please stick around for that. I'm also going to discuss not just the game they talk about in the documentary, I'm also going to talk about other coins and other crypto investments that I think kind of fit into the category that could have just as easily been covered by this doc. So without any further ado, please enjoy this video. Please remember, if you enjoy our content, to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to keep up to date on all of our latest videos. And with that, let's jump in to Play to Earn, the documentary, and let's roll the trailer.
In the rural Philippines, there are thousands of people earning an income in cryptocurrency by playing an NFT game called Axie Infinity.
I will do a video on Axie, like a full.
This might sound too good to be true, but for this community in Nueva Ecija, it is very much reality. Welcome to the world of Play to Earn.
We need to do some art like that. That's great. Yeah, so that's the trailer. That is Play to Earn, the new documentary out by Leah Callan Butler and Mfarsis. She's the director of Mfarsis. She's also the woman who wrote the original CoinDesk article back in August of 2020 that this documentary is based on. Her and Nathan Smale, they both work at this consulting company, Mfarsis, and basically they kick this off kind of to do more of a dive into the kind of NFT crypto gaming phenomenon that was taking place in the Philippines. So basically we follow a bunch of people in this community of Nueva Ecija, which is in just north of Manila in the Philippines. And we are following them as they kind of get more and more into the game Axie Infinity. If you don't know the game Axie Infinity, don't worry, I will be doing a full video on that coming up probably next week, as well as a video on its local coin, the Small Love Potion, or SLP. But I'm not going to do that I'm not going to focus on that too much in this video, because this is more about the documentary itself and about people basically earning from playing games from home. So this isn't, I think that while the documentary does cover predominantly the Philippines and Axie, there are a lot of games this is applicable to, and a lot of emerging economies where I think this will kind of play out. But I'll get to that in the end of this bit. So for now, on the history, as I said, Leah Callan Butler, she is the voice you heard there. She narrates the film, as well as being the head writer, I believe, for the documentary. And so we follow her as she kind of introduces us to several different people in this town in Nueva Ecija. So the first person we meet is Art. He kind of starts the film off. And he was apparently one of the first people in this community to kind of get into Axie. And again, like many people, was fairly skeptical. So I find this with a lot of people, new people I talk to, getting into crypto gaming. The first question they ask, which is the question we're always trying to answer on this channel, is can you actually make money playing crypto games? Can you earn crypto just from home? And as it's shown in this documentary, the answer is 100% yes. and it makes a very big difference depending on which economy you're in. So he discusses how he bought his first few Axies for about $3 to $4 a piece, US dollars. Those Axies would now be worth about $80 a piece at least. So again, a big increase just from that investment. But you can also just earn SLP from playing the game. So, you know, a lot of people, and as is discussed in the Doco, you know, it's their first time ever earning crypto. You know, the Philippines has a big gamer community. I think that this has helped it in a great deal kind of adopt these new technologies. However, I think that, again, as I will mention later, I think that there will be a spread to other emerging economies. So we continue to follow different people in this rural community, and another couple of stories like really stand out to me. Basically, there's also an elderly couple who has begun playing Axie Infinity, as well as a mother of two, a young mother. So we will kind of like go into each of these people's, a little bit of their backstories in the film, and then we discuss how they're playing. Like there's a bunch of like internet cafes, that sort of thing, for those people who don't have access to the internet, where they kind of get together and play these sorts of games, as well as, you know, anyone who has a smartphone. You know, this kind of leads us, so as I said, leads us next bit where we're introduced to this elderly couple who basically, due to the pandemic being the main driving force behind why these sorts of games, blockchain games, have exploded so much in the region, simply because people couldn't go to work. They had no means of earning extra income. So they were in quite desperate straits. And so when Axie kind of came into the field, let's say, this was a saving grace for a lot of people. So this elderly couple, as I said, they lost the majority of their customers at their store. They started playing Axie and were able to afford medicine. This young mother was able to put food on the table for her and her two kids. When they were really not making anything, this was enough to kind of get them by. And I think that this is why these sorts of games are so important. They do make the difference to some people, and while $300 to $400 doesn't mean much, if you're living, say, in the US or Canada or Australia, it can really make a huge world of difference. If you're living somewhere like the Philippines, you know, somewhere in South America, Southeast Asia, Africa, it can really make all the difference. You know, this kind of leads us to the next bit, which is like, as I said, the price of Axies has gone up significantly. And so they cover this in the film as to how new people are getting involved because they can no longer necessarily afford their own Axies. There's something called Axie University. I'll also link all these things in the description, that being Mpharsis, who made the film itself, its channel, and Axie University. So basically, this is kind of a program to set people up with Axies on kind of borrowed time, where they can use them to generate their own crypto and then purchase Axies for themselves. So it's a really great project, and it has a lot of benefits. They actually brought in to this documentary Mark Cuban to kind of give his 2 cents on this whole crypto gaming phenomenon and these sorts of investments, which I was super happy about. Just again, every time I see a successful investor come out and reiterate the idea that this is a good investment, there is a lot of growth here, it gets me super excited. So that's kind of the film in a nutshell. So moving on to number 2, what are my thoughts on this film? So yeah, this movie is excellent. Short film, documentary, whatever you want to call it. It really got me excited when I first saw that this was getting released, simply because I think that we need to see more of the effects of these sorts of investments on emerging economies. I think it's very easy for us in the West to get lost in this idea that crypto is for criminals, or it is kind of a, it's a bit of a crapshoot, or it's a shitty investment because it's a scam. I know still people are saying that. It's not. This is making a huge difference in terms of lifting people out of poverty, just in terms of exchange rate. There's never really been a time before where you could be potentially earning like a reasonable amount in, say, US dollars if you were living in somewhere like the Philippines, if you're living somewhere like Southeast Asia, South America. And this, I think, as it spreads, is going to make a very big difference, especially to economies that are dealing with inflation, suffering from major inflation crisis. Yeah, could very easily see this in Venezuela, in all throughout Africa, and a lot of places in general, South America, just anywhere you're thinking where there's emerging economies, where there are crises with inflation, where there's very strict regimes. Like, this gives people an out, a way to earn those extra dollars in a way that they couldn't before. And I think that the pandemic only kind of sped this up. I don't think that it falsely created this. We've been seeing over the past few decades industrialization increasingly taking more and more jobs. That's going to increase, not decrease. And again, we are disproportionately under-affected by this in the West. We already sold off most of our manufacturing, so we don't necessarily notice when a bunch of factories go, close, or, everyone's jobs is taken over by machines. People in the third world do. They absolutely do. And they are often dealing with very, significant economic crises. This is not insignificant. This film isn't insignificant. The people in it aren't insignificant. So that's why I wanted to kind of do a little discussion on this film today. Why I'm such a fan of it. I think it shows that there are real benefits to people. It's actually is. I think this is probably one of the most effective means of combating poverty that I've seen, that actually puts money in the hands of individuals. It's not a handout. It doesn't take away from their worth and the worth of their work. And again, yes, they are playing a game. They're playing a very silly game, in fact. I don't see anything wrong with that. We're more than happy to, say, for instance, if someone plays football or someone plays baseball, we don't think that these sports add inherent value to the economy, but we still transfer millions and millions of dollars to it every year. Ask anyone, who played games, video games in the 90s. No one thought esports would be generating, nearly as much money as it is today. No one thought anyone would pay to watch someone play a game. So the idea of these kind of blockchain-based games, earning crypto from my home, earning crypto from playing games, this isn't a fantasy. This is the new norm. And I think that we could see a major shift in kind of the economic landscape because of games like Axie Infinity, and because of their adoption in emerging economies. Which kind of leads me into number 3, which is, where is this all going? So, as I said, like, this film focuses particularly on Axie and SLP, but it could have just as easily focused on the Engine platform, could have focused on chain games, could have focused on the ever-increasing number of games that allow you to play and earn crypto. And this market, again, is just ever expanding. That's because this whole technology is still fairly new, and the types of games that are available are still fairly new. For instance, I don't know if I've mentioned this previously in any of my other videos, but Magic the Gathering is looking into developing NFTs for its card game. So that would be available to play online. And as we discussed, say, when we did our chain games video, or pretty much any of our other previous videos, there are new, more advanced games coming all the time, bringing with them, new crypto coins, new means of earning crypto, new kind of esports types events. And again, this makes a big difference if you're in an emerging economy where kind of the conversion rate on these coins is significantly more, where, earning a few $100s in US dollars is more than what you could be making working at, say, a regular job in the Philippines. So how can this develop? Well, it really depends on where it develops. The Philippines, I think, was particularly primed for this. They do have a fairly large kind of interest in gaming already, but as I discussed, you got people in their 70s kind of jumping on board. This isn't something that's just for like the internet age or young investors. This is something that anybody can kind of learn and get into, and they can begin making their own investments where previously they had none. So this is kind of what I feel strongly when I watch this film, is how this is going to develop over time. When I see a few people earning a few $100s off a game that's been around for a little bit and does require some investment in the beginning, I could just as easily see new games being developed that require less investment, new games that kind of appeal to different audiences. Once again, this is, Axie is a game about buying, trading, and fighting with little cartoon monsters. Like I said previously, this is still very early days in terms of blockchain gaming and what is available. So I think that as we go forward, we could see this really change a lot of kind of third world countries, a lot of emerging economies, simply by the fact that it gives people access to kind of financial investment where previously they had no experience with that, or they just couldn't have access. There's also just kind of the practicalities of this being available. So for instance, if you were to rewind 20 years, most people didn't have a smartphone, which they do now. New technologies like even Elon Musk's like Starlink being released, like more and more of these satellites covering a broad base of internet. This will also make a big difference because you still have a huge number of people across the world who don't even have access to the internet. Again, this might seem, some people might not know this, especially if you're watching this video. But yeah, a lot of people still don't have access to Wi-Fi in any sense. So when these technologies become more ubiquitous and you also give people the opportunity to be earning simply by doing something, as simple as playing a game. And again, not to downplay the hours that are put in, but you could fundamentally change markets. You can fundamentally change people's financial situation. And that's what I really liked about this video. That's what was really shown. And that's where I think a lot of this is going to develop. And how that will play out in the long term is still anyone's guess. We could be seeing a very big shift in terms of how people earn their money and what's actually possible. If this kind of trend continues, I could just as easily see more people moving out of the West to countries like the Philippines where their overhead is less because they know that they can still make their money in crypto doing something as simple as playing a game. So again, this is the new world order, I suppose, that we are entering. These are the 2020s. So if you guys did enjoy this video, my first recommendation is please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. But also please watch the Play to Earn documentary. I will link it here in the description. It's a really great little doco, guys. Whether you're into crypto, into gaming, or just want to learn a little bit about both, it's really, really well done. And I highly recommend you guys check it out. Once again, I want to thank you so much for watching this video and coming along with me on this little film review. I know this is different than what we usually do here on the channel. I just couldn't hold back on doing something on this documentary. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, I'm JP. This has been a DCP media production, and I highly encourage you guys to also check out our website at digitalcurrencypros.com. We have new articles and kind of deep dives, little videos, merchandise, all kinds of things coming up all the time. So please check us out there as well. And finally, I promised you a joke at the end. So how does Elon Musk deal with his taxes? He doges them! Thanks so much, guys. Alright, have a great one. Keep it crypto, everybody.